Alright, let us continue. So we have seen, according to Raoult's law, PA is equal to PA naught chi A and PB is PB naught chi B. Remember, here both the components are volatile, both are going to vapor phase, so both are exerting pressure. Now, what will be the total pressure over the liquid? To find it out, we need to apply Dalton's law. So here you may see it's written, according to Dalton's law of partial pressure, if we have to add up P total, PT here stands for P total, that means total pressure, is equal to PA plus PB. Now from here we replace the value of PA and PB in the next equation here into P total. So we replace PA by PA naught chi A and PB as PB naught chi B. Now you may notice here we have so many variables. Our P total, which changes with time, so it is variable. PA naught and PB naught are constants because these are the vapor pressure of the pure component. Chi A, that means the amount of A in the solution, will change with that of B as we mix them. As you know, sum of the mole fraction has to be 1. If I add more of B, chi A will decrease. So chi A and chi B, they are both variables. So we are getting an equation in 3 variables. And equation in 3 variables is a complicated situation. So to convert it to an equation of 2 variables and to express it in terms of solute, we replace chi A by 1 minus chi B, because you know chi A plus chi B is equal to 1. So here we are replacing chi A by 1 minus chi B. Now when we multiply and rearrange the whole thing, you can see we find P total to be PA naught plus PB naught minus PA naught into chi B. This is the equation of a straight line because it is very similar to y equal to mx plus c. What is y here? Y is your P total. What is your m? M is PB naught minus PA naught because that is a constant and that is the slope. What is x? X is chi B, that is mole fraction of the solute. And what is c? C is again, we know y-intercept and it is a constant and it is PA naught. That means our variables out here are only 2 now. You can see we have only 2 variables. And the variables are P total and chi B. Now if I plot a graph between vapor pressure and mole fraction, then we get this graph. This graph you will find in your textbook also. Now let us try to understand the graph. Along the y-axis we have chosen vapor pressure and along the x-axis we have taken mole fraction. So what you notice here? You may notice here I have written chi A equal to 1, so chi B has to be 0 because you know chi A plus chi B equal to 1. Now chi A equal to 1 and chi B equal to 0 means what? I don't have any component B, we have only component A. That means it is the pure component A. So its vapor pressure is PA naught. So that's how we plot here. Now as we keep on moving from left to right, you notice here notice at the value of chi A and chi B, you see in the other extreme we have chi A to be 0 and chi B to be 1. That means this point at which we have no A component. That means I don't have component A, we have only component B, and the pressure according to the Raoult's law will be PB naught. And you notice here we have placed PB naught. That means from here to here, from one extreme to the other, chi A is decreasing and chi B is increasing. That means mole fraction of A is decreasing and mole fraction of B is increasing. Now let us try to understand this graph. You look here. Let us try to understand this graph. As chi A is decreasing from 1 to 0, what should happen to PA? According to Raoult's law, we know they are directly proportional. Since chi A is decreasing, PA is also decreasing. Now what is happening to chi b? We can see here chi b is 0 and here chi b is 1. That means chi b is increasing from left to right. So as chi b is decreasing, what is happening to pb? pb is also increasing. Chi b is increasing, so pb is also increasing. So these are the individual graphs. This is the graph for PA and this is the graph for PB, or rather this is the graph for component A and this is the graph for component B. Then how much will be the P total? That means the graph according to this equation. According to this equation, the graph will be the points joining PA0 and PB0. Here we have taken a point PB0 to be more than PA0. That means B is more volatile than A. So we are getting an increasing graph and the slope of this will be positive. But it may also happen that PB0 is less than PA0. In that the case, the graph will be a decreasing graph. And here PB0 minus PA0 will become negative. I hope you understand this. Since PB0 is smaller than PA0, the slope will become negative. And the line joining PA0 and PB0 is the graph for P total. I hope the graph is clear to you. So that's all about when we have both the components in a solution which are volatile, and that is usually applicable to those kind of solution when both solute and solvent are liquid. Then next we have another situation when the solute is non-volatile. Here you can see the solute is non-volatile, meaning this is a situation when we have a solid solute and the solvent is liquid. Remember here all the three situations we have studied, the solvent is liquid. That means we are talking about liquid solutions. The first case, Henry's law, we have studied where the solute was a gas. Second situation, Raoult's law, we have learned when the solute was a liquid. Now the third situation we are taking when the solute is a solid. That is also governed by Raoult's law. Actually, it is nothing a new law, just a modification of the previous law. Here what will happen, you see, since we are considering the solute to be non-volatile, that means component B will not go to vapor phase and it will not exert any pressure. So if this PB is, so what will be the value of PB? PB will be equal to 0. Why 0? PB will be equal to 0 because it is not a volatile substance and it is not going to vapor phase, so it is not exerting any pressure. So what will happen to this equation then? What will be the P total value then? The P total will be just because of A, not because of B anymore. So here if I modify, this PB term will vanish because this is 0. That means P total is only equal to PA. That means the pressure over the liquid is just because of the solvent, not because of the solute anymore. So let us see what is written here. Raoult's law for non-volatile solute. When the solute is non-volatile, it doesn't contribute to the vapor pressure and hence the vapor pressure over the solution is due to solvent alone. Therefore, the law states at a given temperature, the vapor pressure of the solvent, that is, vapor pressure of the solution, is equal to the product of the mole fraction of the solvent and the vapor pressure of the pure solvent at that temperature. So please remember here vapor pressure of the solvent is same as vapor pressure of the solution because the solute is non-volatile. So during exam you need to be very careful if they are asking you Raoult's law, for what kind of solution they have asked you, that you need to be very careful while writing the definition. Now when the solute and the solvent both go to vapor phase, so you know the vapor also is a mixture. So if vapor is a mixture, that is also a solution. Of course, it is a gaseous solution. Now since it is a solution, it will have its own vapor pressure. So we have this formula. If you have not written down the notes as yet, you may continue together with Raoult's law this particular formula. If Ya and Yb are the vapor pressures, mole fractions of the vapors of A and B, then Pa in the vapor phase will be equal to Ya P total and Pb is equal to Yb P total. This formula you need to remember for working out the numericals which I will be giving soon. Is that clear?